You have hundreds of high-end collectibles. Which ones are your favorite? Today, you're going to find out. We're going to go over my favorite license pieces. What about my favorite customs? What about my most anticipated POs? Buckle up, Buttercup. I can't do that, can I? Mr. X on the Xtreme channel here. Really excited because today's kind of a kickoff session. Today's session is going to be awesome. I don't know why I'm calling these sessions. Maybe it's therapy. But I'm often asked, Mr. X, what's your favorite statue? What's your favorite collectible? So this is the first of multiple videos. Today we're going to go over my favorite licensed pieces, and we're going to come back to that. Then in a few weeks, we're going to do my most anticipated purchases or pre-orders that I've already made for 2020, since that's right around the corner. Then a few weeks after that, we're going to go over my top 10 customs. So today we're going to count down, starting at number 10 all the way to number 1 of my favorite licensed pieces in my collection. Few disclaimers here. Disclaimer number 1, I really wanted to do the video where I bring each one to the table. So we'd cut out, each one would be at the table, but most of these are heavy as fuck. And I don't know how heavy fuck is, but it's got to be pretty heavy because I don't have the energy to move all these because I've been sick. Second of all, a lot of them are buried, not buried, they're on display, but they're behind other heavy statues, so it just wasn't feasible to take 2 to 3 hours to film it doing that and possibly pass out. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do some videos of them where they are at in my collection, which gives you a little bit of a sneak peek. Because I'm also doing a room tour, which may have aired a few days before this or not. It just depends on how things fall. So that's the first thing, even though I said second thing. The real second thing is these are my favorites based on my gut feeling, how I like them. Which one would I probably be the last to go because I just want to hold on to it because I think it looks awesome. So we're not going into detail about this has a better sculpt, this is a better concept. It's just the ones I like the best. And since it's my opinion, guess what? You're probably going to disagree with that. So for you awesome single-minded people, I guess we're all single-minded, but go ahead and start arguing why my opinion is wrong because it differs with yours. The third thing is you got to remember that I get statues a couple times a week. I get new ones. So this list could change. Now here's the really cool thing. What we're going to do at the end of every year, starting in the end of 2020, we're going to do my top 10 license pieces that arrived that year and my top 10 customs. Right now we're doing the top ones in my collection, whether they came this year or 3 years ago or whatever. The last thing I have for you guys before we get started is this list probably changes daily. So some of the order is very difficult. It's like trying to decide, you know, your favorite food or your favorite child. It depends what kind of mood you're in. When I actually made this list, I might change it as we go through it. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Once again, my chair went down by itself. I just ate a big steak from Shanahan's. It was leftovers. I love high-end steak places. Ironically, one of my favorites, it's kind of high-end, is Morton's. I love Morton's steak. I think it's the bread, but they have this Cajun ribeye. Never mind. You're not here for that. Let us get started. And before we get to the top 10, I think I want to throw in some honorable mentions. And I think that's always good. So first honorable mention I have is actually two of them. It's a pair. It's Sideshow's Wolverine Premium Format and X23, the newer ones for Sentinel hands. I think these pieces are awesome. I really do. I love the sculpt. I think they captured the characters perfectly. They both have alternate portraits because they have the exclusives, and it's one of those ones you can't decide which one you want to display. I absolutely love these pieces. I don't like that the Sentinel's hands aren't scaled correctly, but I'm a big fan of these, which unfortunately I have much better customs coming in, so eventually these may go, but let's start with them. Another honorable mention, which depending on the day of the week could end up in the top, is XM Studios Storm. As you guys know, a very low edition size on this, under 500, and really it's one of the few representations of Storm that is out there. I'm surprised Sideshow hasn't came out with one yet, unless they've announced one in the last 2 weeks since I filmed this video. And I love the fact there's two torsos. I think the sculpt is beautiful. It encompasses her power. I like the fact that the base is just a tornado. So cool. Another honorable mention, this one doesn't get a lot of love other than the people who own it like myself. It is Blitzway Rocky 2 statue. This is fantastic. It's one of the best likenesses I've ever seen. Looks just like Sylvester Stallone in that movie. I love how it captures all the essence of Rocky, especially if you grew up with Rocky like I did. I think it's an amazing piece. It is done beautifully. Blitzway just does a great job with their movie pieces. Another piece that is honorable mention for me, and this piece blows me away because I see it below retail all the time. And mine is set up a little bit different, but it's right here. It's XM Studios Weapon X by Daniel Bell. The resin or the clear water effect on this alone just takes it to the next level. The anatomy's perfect. Obviously captures the Weapon X concept of him breaking out of his origins. I love it. You can see I have all the screens taken down because I don't think that's a cool part of the statue. They look a little cheap to me, but it looks phenomenal without it, and you don't lose any of the storyline at all. But XM Weapon X, definitely an honorable mention, and some days he would probably actually be in the top 10 depending on my mood. So those are just some of the honorable mention. There are plenty more out there that I could throw in because when you start looking at statue, it's like, oh, he's got to make it. I'm looking at XM Spidey villains over here, and I don't think any of them are in my top list, but almost all of them are honorable mention. From XM Lizard to XM Sandman, Electro. I love their Carnage. Sideshow Green Goblin. Hell, there's so many great honorable mentions for the licensed pieces that could be out there. Also, speaking of XM, how can I leave out XM Ghostrider and XM Darkness? If any of you have owned those pieces, you know they're some of the best ones out there made. I do have a custom Ghostrider that may unseat this. Darkness, I have no attachment to the character, but I can't get rid of him because the sculpt, the elaborateness of the piece is so awesome. This is really tough angle where you're seeing it right now because they're in a temporary spot. But absolutely love those pieces. Definitely honorable mentions. But let's get to the countdown right now. Starting with number 10, this is what some people would call a grail, highly sought after piece. I definitely don't think it's in the top, but Sideshow's Legendary Wolf Predator. This piece is awesome. The dynamic pose, and it's an older piece. It's just fantastically done. It really encompasses the AVP Requiem movie that he came from with the alien on the bottom. I have a custom one coming in soon that will probably surpass this. It's not a wolf predator necessarily, but it is a diorama similar to this, except a lot more so. Very cool piece. Number 10 without a doubt. Number 9 is also kind of a classic that no one's been able to beat, is the XM Magneto on Throne. This guy is awesome, and I've done a video on him with which quarter scale Magneto is the best, even though he's slightly underscaled. I love the concept. I have some custom switch outs on this guy, and he will forever be in my Throne collection. I'm a huge Throne guy. When we go through the custom top list, there's a lot of Thrones that actually fall into the custom top 10, but that'll be in a few weeks or months, so stay tuned for that. Moving on to number 8, this is a late addition, and if you saw the video review I did on him the other day, you'll know why. XM Iron Fist. The sculpt, the dynamic. This is probably the only character on my top 10 list that I don't think this is an awesome character. But this is such an amazing statue. XM Studios did a great job. They're kind of taking the cake right now with all the honorable mentions in the top 10, but they don't take the number 1 spot. They do take the number 2. But XM Studios, Iron Fist, amazing statue. And let's stay with XM Studios and go to their XM Samurai Batman. Amazing piece. This one will never leave my collection. I love that you have 59 different switch outs. That's not really true. I do have some customs on order to make it even more switch outs. But he is so stoic with any switch out, any portrait, and it really ties back to Batman. I absolutely love this piece. I'm probably saying that every single time, but amazing piece. And one I think I forgot during the honorable mention would be their newer Deathstroke. I would also throw this in honorable mention, mostly due to the paint and sculpt. I'm really excited about some of their upcoming pieces as well. I have their Bane coming any day. I've ordered their Robin. I'm going to get their Nightwing. Very cool. The entire line. Number 6, if you guys watched this review I did a long time ago, I actually said I think this is the best licensed piece I've ever seen. But like I said, things change day to day. Right now it's number 6. Prime One Studios, 1/3 scale, Mr. Freeze. The details on this piece are amazing. It encompasses Mr. Freeze. The sculpt is spot on. The snow effect I think is awesome. Some of the small details like the crystals. It is so cool, and I like it way better than I do the Batman XE, ironically, which who knows why. Like I said, this is just kind of my preference, but I absolutely love number 6, Prime One, Mr. Freeze. Number 5 is a piece I actually keep at my office. It is Devilman vs. Amon by Figuraman. This is a piece that, if you recall from a long, long time ago, I hated the company because the shipping and the communication was horrid. But Caleb sculpted this one, and it just was executed beautifully. Beautiful QC. It's why I've got their Titan on PO. The details in this are insane. Not only the figures, but the base. It is such a cool piece if you ever have a chance to pick it up, even if you don't know much about the characters. Number 4 is also a recent addition. He's right behind me, but we'll show him here too, is Prime One's Alien Dog. Such a cool piece. The paint job, the sculpt are phenomenal. They captured probably my least favorite xenomorph like no other. I'm really excited to see what else they're going to bring to the table with some of their new Alien releases, because this is top notch on every single level. And it is one of the best pieces out there, without a doubt. Prime One Alien Dog Maquette is Prime One Studios 1/3 scale Superman Hush. This is the best Superman statue out there. Its presence, its sculpt, its paint. It is so magnanimous, and it really just speaks to Superman. This is by far the only Superman statue that I will ever have. It displays great with other pieces. It could display great by itself in a museum. It is amazing. I absolutely love it, like I do all my statues. But now let's get to number 2. Number 2 is one of those pieces that I definitely wouldn't want to move over to the table. In fact, he hasn't moved since the day I fully assembled him. And this is by XM Studios. Remember I said they're number 2. Hulkbuster. Amazing, amazing piece. The presence, the detail, and it's not just because of the size. The Iron Man itself that comes with it is one of the best Iron Mans on the market. I think that XM Studios really knocked it out of the park. It's obviously the comic version, not the movie version, but to me it's one and the same. And I am very proud to own this piece, especially since I had to pay $800 shipping on it. I will never forget that. So here we are down to the number 1 piece, and people I think are going to be tenured collectors. So collectors that have large collections like myself, I'd say 40 plus statues, I think are going to be surprised at my choice. People who have smaller collections who own this piece will not be surprised. But my number 1 licensed statue to this day, and it always will be, because again, if I got out of the collecting game, this is one of the few statues I would keep, and it has nothing to do with my ties to the character, even though I have very, very strong ties to the character, is the one, the only, Sideshow, Thanos on Throne. I can't tell you the feelings I had when I unboxed this. And it was before I was doing YouTube videos, obviously. I will never forget those feelings. And this, to me, was one of those statues that really took it to the next level for me. That I got more appreciation of those tiny, tiny details. Those little aspects that you sometimes don't appreciate. I think they captured his character. You guys see that I have a custom head on mine. I think his normal head is great too. I think this custom head, takes it to the next level. But I love this piece. It is one of my favorites. I think the size is perfect. The detail in his throne and his chair. It is so Thanos to me. I think anyone who has him is lucky. Now, you're probably wondering, Mr. X, did you order XM Studios' new Thanos? Damn straight I did. So you know what that means? Xtrumble, baby. So be prepared for that in 2021. Jeez, so far away. So that's my top 10 licensed pieces today. There's probably 20 total that move from place to place. Thanos is usually at the top, but depending on the day and my mood, it changes. Whoops, sorry. Why am I saying sorry to you? Sorry to you guys. It changes a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed this session. We're going to do a top 10 most anticipated POs in 2020. That's coming out in a few weeks, so stay tuned for that. And always remember, don't go fuck yourself.